All right, spotlight for everybody. So, dude, you just aced it. Tell me how you feel.
To be honest with you, I feel really, really good. It was something that I always wanted to do. I had a passion to get it knocked out. And the more I got on these calls, the more I spoke with it, just kind of different instructors and things like that. I mean, it just made me want to go ahead and do it. So I feel amazing. I feel like a huge weight is lifted off my shoulders.
That's really, really great. Now, did you take? I've done a bunch of interviews lately, and somebody got me on the podcast because like everybody took it at a place. I'm praying that you took it online. Did you take it online?
I did not. I actually did
Okay,
take it at a
whatever. Another
place.
interview in place. That's no big deal. Doesn't matter at all. All right. So, like, what was exam day like? You sounded like you were ready. You're eager, but were you nervous at all, man?
Absolutely. I was 100% nervous. I was just kind of worried about, you know, I didn't know if I was like completely prepared, but
Hmm.
I wanted to go while I was fresh in my mind from finishing the
Yeah.
course. So I felt pretty good about that. Of course, getting on these calls were really, really crucial and helped me out a lot. So I just applied a lot of the principles, obviously from the training and then from the calls, and that's what allowed me to have a passing score.
That's awesome, dude. Tell them where you're from. Like, what background do you have, man?
So my actual background is military. I just retired. I served 24 years active duty
Wow. Congrats,
in
man.
in the army. So I did that, and then of course I live here in Douglasville, Georgia, and I took my test just inside of Atlanta, Georgia, and that's where I took my test at.
That's awesome. Now, experience-wise, did you have a lot of agile experience or like just traditional projects or like what was it like for you, dude, in the past?
It was a little bit of both. I
Okay.
think the challenge was for me to take my project experience from in the military and
Mm,
just kind of convert it over to what would be on the civilian side. So
okay.
the challenge to me was just kind of like getting the understanding of the civilian terminology.
How did you do that, man? What helped?
Um, this course, because basically, like
Okay.
when
What? Yeah,
uh,
what about it, dude? Or you know, because I got an email today from someone overseas that's saying I'm having they're in the army, they're having trouble like with the words, and they're like, what does this mean? How does this mean? What did you do when you faced that?
so what I did, I started just kind of using like associations. For example,
Okay.
like in my case, I worked at a two-star command, so my
Mm,
commander was a two-star general. So what
okay.
helped me a lot was I would look at him as being, a key stakeholder,
Okay.
and a major key stakeholder at that. So I just kind of used that translation, and then of course I had battalion commanders as well who was under that, but they also had some influence. So I used them
Hmm.
as stakeholders as well. So those are one of the things that kind of allowed me to make that adjustment, associating civilian terminology to the military terminology.
That makes sense. That's awesome, dude. Give me an idea about like maybe I could put a bunch of terms up and then just say, hey, Army folk, what does this mean in your world and kind of connect it. Maybe we'll come up with that later. So
Mhm.
how long roughly did it take you from the moment you started till you took your exam? How many weeks roughly ish?
Um, it took me probably from the moment I started the course. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, not the 4 hours of the exam. I apologize. Like the course, yes,
Okay.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah, the course. It took me probably about 3 to 4 months to actually really feel comfortable.
Okay.
So
Not bad.
somewhere around that time frame, I really started pushing harder once I actually went ahead and retired. So I had a lot more time to dedicate to the course.
So like flexibility was important to you, I guess, initially. Like you're getting out, you're handling all your stuff, but then after that you could kind of turn up the volume. Is that how it went for you?
Absolutely, yeah, that's spot on, Scott. That's exactly what happened. Because I was, studied again. Of course, you got the percentage on there of
Mhm.
how much you got completed, and I was
Yeah.
I was kind of stuck in between that, 30 to 40 range for a while, and then
Mhm.
as I began to go into my transition, that percentage started to increase because I was able to devote a lot more time.
Okay. How did you stay focused? Like I know the army people don't have that problem. Usually they're usually like, give me a challenge, I'll take it on. But like, was there anything specific that you did to stay focused? Did you a lot like specific times or days, or what did you do to stay focused and keep the progress going, dude?
So what I did to stay focused, keep the progress going, is just kind of talking to people who already completed the course, who completed the
Okay.
training, and basically said how vital it was to them. So just kind of talking to them, and I also have a
Okay.
guy that I know personally, he's a PMP, so I would talk to him. So just kind of talking to those people who already completed it, and
Mhm.
people who's doing the job right now, they kind of kept me motivated. So I was able to kind of, you know, tunnel vision into it, and that's pretty much what I did.
I love it, dude. It's kind of like the
Hmm.
community, the kind of pull. You've mentioned the coaching calls a couple times. There's a couple new people on here tonight. How should they go? Like, how did the coaching calls help you, or did they? And then how should they come at the coaching calls to get the most out of it?
So the coaching calls 100% definitely helped me, and I would say when it make sure you can try to be on the coaching calls as much as possible. And then of
Okay.
course, you guys, y'all pretty much lay everything out the way it should be, and you just take every question as is. Try not to read too
Mhm.
much into the question. Just, I mean, obviously, you got to kind of think about, your answer and things like that, process of elimination. But take
Yep.
each question head on as it is. And I
Okay.
love the way you guys do it. You go in there, you read the question first, then you go back and read the problem, then you kind of come back and say, hey, what are your thoughts before you even reveal the answers? That was
Yeah.
really, really huge to be able to
Mm.
see how that process worked. And then once you reveal the answers, you was kind of like, okay, I'm kind of thinking in the right direction. So that was really huge.
That's awesome. Um,
Mhm.
okay, so you like being here 2, 3 months or so, a little bit more. You saw a lot of like changes. We've been making tons of changes in the system. Is there anything that helped you out a lot? Because there's like a lot of new people on here, like the 50-50 game, simulator, some of the different features there. Like what help videos, whatever. Was if you could pick one or so things, like which one did you really kind of lean on that helped you, if anything?
From the coaching calls or
Or
from
just
just.
like in the system, like inside like
Yep.
the
So
website
those
coaching.
videos, those videos
Okay.
that you do are
Okay.
there to me, they are the bread and butter
Okay.
because you actually go in there and you explain each one of those questions. I mean, each one of those answers in detail, and then of course,
Yeah.
you got those reference points that you can always go back to. I think that is. I wish the military would do something like that because I think it
Okay.
would be a huge role, um, a huge upgrade. In a lot of military courses and training that we have to do, kind of sometimes hands on. But what you did, I think that was huge, absolutely huge. I cannot tell you how many times I went back and watched those videos.
Okay. So you're saying like when you get a question and then like the answer video where I like pontificate or whatever on it. Yeah.
Yes,
That's cool.
absolutely,
That's cool,
absolutely.
man. Let's talk about the exam, the breakdown. Did you finish all the questions and stuff? Some people worry that they're not going to be able to get it all the way done. Were you able to get it all done, dude?
Yes, I was able to get it all done, and the thing that I was unaware of course,
Hmm.
like how we do in the training, we got it pretty broken down. Like it's 60 questions per section. You got the three sections, things like that. So
Yeah.
the thing that I was unaware of is taking the exam. They just got a complete timer up there for the
Yeah.
entire course. I mean, the entire
Yeah.
exam. And I thought what would happen is once I reached 60 questions, I thought that it would stop. I would get my 10-minute break, and then I would go back into
Right.
the next 60. I kind of thought that's
Pause.
what it was going to be, but that was nowhere near the case. What happened is they just had the timer up there going, the maximum amount of time, and of course, it trickles all the way down to zero. So when I got to 60, I thought it was going to stop. It didn't. So it just kept going. So I kind of raised my hand and was like, hey. And then when they
You
came
got to
in
take the
and I
break.
kind of told them what it was, and I had to initiate the break. One
Yeah.
of the things that, so I would encourage anybody if they kind of want to make sure they kind of on track with their timing, I would tell them, just kind of like keeping your mind or write it down because they did give me like
Yeah. Give
a
us
dry
stuff
erase
down.
that I could write down.
Hmm.
So I would say, hey, at these many minutes remaining, I need to be at knocked out these many questions and so forth all the way through. So that way you can kind of know if you're going too fast or you're going too slow as far as like speeding, as far as like answering the questions. Another thing that really, really, truly helped is just to have the ability to flag those questions within the exam.
Yeah.
So what I did when I got to a question that I didn't know, and I remember being on one of the coaching calls was like, read the question twice, and if you have to read it more than that, then just go ahead and go to the next one. Of course,
Okay.
flag it as well. So I kind of took that, in my opinion, to like the next level. What I did,
Okay.
if I ran to one that was a little bit harder for me, I did read the question twice, and I took an educated guess, and I at least marked the
Hmm.
answer that I
Yeah.
thought would be the best answer, and then I flagged that question, and then I would kind of keep track. And then when I would get to my 60 in my head, I would
Hmm.
kind of go back and say, okay, I need to look at this because it's broken down obviously in 60. So once you get to that, you know,
Right.
That's what happened. So that's what I did. And when I had, ample time, I would go back and look at those ones that I had flagged. Although I had the answer already marked, I would
That's
still
good.
read it as like basically like a new question. I didn't look at the answers. I used the method from the courses, from the coaching calls. And then
Yeah.
if I picked the same answer, then I went with the answer. If it was a little bit, if I felt like it was different after having, a little bit more time, and the answer was different, I would kind of do my process of elimination and say, okay, this is the better answer. And that's the way I went. So that helped me out a lot.
That's a really good one to look through there where you're like, you gave it its due, you took a chance on an answer that you thought, because you could have like forgot about it or run out of time. Well, we want to have a chance, 1 in 4, right? And you made a pretty good call. And then you went back. I like that. And then if we think about it, we just got to get roughly 71% done and finished. So we're going to have some that we're just not going to figure out, just the way it is. No big deal. But at least you're giving yourself a chance and you're finding the ones that are really valuable. Now, the breakdown of questions, was it a good mix of agile, waterfall, hybridy tough? Like, what was the breakdown roughly?
It was a pretty good mix. The thing that I really
Okay.
liked about it is depending on how the question was asked, then
Hmm.
you will kind of know if it is an agile or if it's a waterfall or if it's hybrid. So
Okay.
just kind of know, and some of the questions they actually said hybrid, or some of the
Okay.
questions actually said things like Scrum Master. So
Yeah. Okay.
those are just indicators that you'll know what kind of problem, what kind of question that you are addressing for the methodology that you'll be using.
How many matching questions roughly?
Um, it wasn't very many. If I was to guess, I'm gonna say maybe give or take 5 to 6. It really
Okay.
wasn't that many, and those wasn't bad at all. And
Okay.
another thing that I noticed, there was, you know how we got the math equations in there. None of them,
Yeah.
not one of them
None of
had math. So that was a huge relief, because
them. Yeah. They
even though
eat
you
you
know
up.
it, yes,
Yeah.
even though you know it, you don't have to worry about it as far as the exam.
Okay, cool. Well, let's open it up. Get some questions. You're doing great. I really love the perspective. Like, who out there in TV land has questions? Fire away. And then we'll bring in Benita at the end. Yeah. Anybody got questions?
What was your confidence level walking out of the exam? How did you feel you did before receiving your paper?
Honestly, I felt like my confidence was pretty good because I
Yeah.
felt like I was able to at least get majority of the answers correct. So my confidence level was actually pretty good. So
Okay.
they give you, of course, they give you your score right after the exam. And as soon
Hmm.
as I walked out, I mean, I was walking out. I had to stop at the front desk, and he gave me my score. There's really no score; it's just kind of like a pass or fail, and then you got the three. Um, the target and no
No names.
target and
Yeah.
exceeds,
Yeah.
right. So that's what it
Mhm.
was. So all of mine was good across the board. So that made my confidence even higher after the fact I had took it. But
Yeah. I mean,
I did feel pretty good about it after the fact.
Thank you.
yeah. Yeah. That's
Hmm.
awesome, dude. The best students always have the most doubt, just in general. I don't know if it's just here or what. It just seems like it, but we're proud of how you did. What other questions do you have out there in the group? Anything?
Did you feel that the practice test was harder than the real exam or easier than the real exam?
I feel like the practice test was actually harder than the real exam.
Good.
That's how I
Cool.
feel. And I think, and I don't know if it's designed that way, but if it is designed that way, I think that's for the better. So that way, if you take the exam, you'll have a little bit more confidence because you took something that was harder versus something that was easier. I'm quite sure most people will want it that way.
Yeah. I mean, we built it so that like the questions get more I don't know like the term is amorphous or more general or more difficult as they go through. Because it's like if I gave you that at the beginning, you'd be like just swinging it air. But as they go, we've put them in there. Yeah, so that's good. I think John or somebody had a come off chat or thing.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, this is my first class.
Up, dude.
So thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. I guess my question would be, I've listened to some of these videos and I understand most of the question is scenario based, right?
Hmm.
That
Absolutely.
is an accurate statement, given that you just
Yes.
got out? Yeah.
Every
Okay.
last one of them are scenario based. So
Nice.
and when in the videos, when Scott say early on
Hmm.
that there's no need to try to study or remember anything, he is 100% correct because every last one of them are scenario based. So obviously you can't study for scenarios,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this helps or not, but as I was kind of going through the course itself and then, taking the practice exams and
Mm-hmm.
different things like that you could do, I actually took those exams as if I was taking the exact test,
Ah,
you know, and that actually helped out a lot. And I pretty much averaged um, maybe 75, 76. I did get like a couple 80s, a couple 85s, 90s, and different things like that on the practice exam.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of made me feel a little confident too. Obviously, the goal ultimately is 100%, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, you want to make sure that you can get those target areas. So I don't. So you guys should feel pretty confident if you're scoring on your practice exams, in the mid to high 70s or
Mm-hmm.
more. You guys should feel pretty confident. And another thing I would recommend is, again, stay on the coaching calls. But as soon
Mm-hmm.
as you finish the course, go ahead and schedule your exam, and then just kind of continue to, you know, go over this, go back over the material and things like that. That way, you'll keep it fresh in your head instead of kind of delaying and waiting.
that's awesome.
Wow.
Goodness me.
Well, that's so funny because I did like the exact opposite. I scheduled the exam and then signed up for the class. So
Well, whatever. I mean, we know the finish line, so we're all
Yeah.
right. That's all right. Now we
need
can
that
work through it.
motivation. So another question I've got is just I tend to overthink, right? And I always think that the exam's trying to trick me and they're trying to throw the sneaky words in there that I might overlook. Do you kind of feel like that's the way it was, or do you feel like, hey, here's your scenario, react to it, right?
So that's the thing. So the exam did not try to trick you or anything like that. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
that question was, is just take that question as it is.
Yeah.
You really don't have to think too hard. Don't think that they're trying to trick you or anything like that at all. Take that
Mm-hmm.
question as that question, nothing more, nothing less.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, process of elimination. Now, one thing that I did find that, of course, out of the four choices that you have, two of them are going to be almost completely off. So you will know to eliminate those right away. But then, of course, you're going to have those 1, 2 that are relatively close to each other. When it comes to that, what I would do is take your best guess for the option that's available. And one of the things that I kind of noticed that helped me out a lot for the exam is you always want to focus your answer on things like facilitation, collaboration, and basically putting the team first, supporting the team. And
Mm-hmm.
those are kind of like the things that I kind of like really honed in on
Mm-hmm.
as far as like my best answer. So anything that said collaborate, facilitate, and of course you don't want to have to go to the stakeholders unless you absolutely have to, because you as a project manager or scrum master, more so on the project manager side, you kind of try to solve those things, internal. However, there will be some situations you have to go to the stakeholders, but you'll kind of know based on the scenario of the question.
There you go.
Got
Dang,
it.
he's going deep tonight. This is a
Do you
good one,
feel
dude.
like, sorry, I'm,
Yeah, go,
can you-
John. Go, John.
Yep, sorry, don't mean to interrupt, guys.
Sorry, dude.
Do you feel like stuff like the waterfall game, right? Where you've got the different columns, initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and then how we're drag and drop and trying to get those in order. Do you feel like the exam goes into detail on like each one of those?
So the questions are going to pretty much tell you what phase you are in. So it's going to say you are in the monitoring controlling phase, or you are in the initiating phase. So to know what happens in those phases, like you said, how you got to kind of match those, to know what phase you are in will be kind of vital, because all of the questions are saying you are in X phase or you are in this phase. So yes, I think that is vital to know.
Good.
Just make sure, John, that you don't go like crazy deep to be like, I have to put this book in my brain and know exactly what
That's where I was going with it. I might
Nah,
have
don't do that, dude.
misrepresented
I don't
the
think
com-
that's what he's mentioning, right, dude?
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not saying like, hey, it has to be in this or it has to be in that. They're gonna
Yeah.
kind of let you know.
Yeah.
And as you go through it, you'll through the course, and of course continue to be on these coaching calls. I mean, the questions that Scott and Bonita and Ben have, they're almost really, really similar to what's on the test, except for they may be a little bit harder, which is a good thing though. But yeah, so just kind of knowing the phase that you're in, then you'll be fine. But it'll tell you you are in X phase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And just can keep progressing, John. You'll be fine through the thing. And like each one of those things has a little bit of purpose to be like, you got to know what the process groups are, what happens in each, and you kind of get a feel. And you're like, okay, cool. I can go back and reference them and look at them as I go, but then we'll just progress down to go a little bit deeper knowledge in a
Mhm.
different way. So that's cool.
Mhm.
And you were a Bonita person, right? Is that what your original coach or who's your overall coach? I can't remember.
Uh, I was actually kind of going in between. So
Okay.
yes, it was kind of you and Bonita,
Okay.
and then I think the last coaching call I did was I was on there with Ben.
Okay. So you got
So
everybody. All right, cool. And I
right,
know Benito told me that we had like you coming on. So Benito, what did you see in him that you knew that he was gonna do well? Anything?
Thank you. Those are some great feedback and congrats once again. I think the fact that, you're able to jump in and walk yourself through the question without seeing the answer, it's a great indicator, right? Because you don't let the answer sway you. I think having a good understanding of the problem and the fact that you can talk yourself through the concepts and the processes, that's a strong indicator. And of course, the work that you put in do show the results as well, right? The study time, coming to these calls, and helping out with the peers, I think it's a strong indicator as well that you're exam ready.
That's
mhm.
awesome. Cool. All right. Well, this is super, super great. What would you say? Like, there's people getting ready to jump on, a lot of new guys, and people getting close. What would you give them? What's the last positive message that you want to leave with the folks?
The last positive message I would leave with everyone is trust your coaches.
Okay.
Trust your coaches. Trust the process. And
Mm-hmm.
more importantly, believe in yourself. Have a positive mind. Um, if you take all of those things and kind of factor them in, trust me, I know without a doubt from experience that you'll do just fine on the exam, and then you'll be walking out, loud and proud.
Man, that was such an amazing interview. I felt like he was a coach already. All right. I love the perspective that he had that with how to study, how to maintain your mind, how to bring things together, how to learn, like just like so many good things. So if you want that kind of support, that kind of help, that kind of, guidance as we go through and have that big of a smile. I know you couldn't see it, but you could hear the smile, I think, on his face. So like if you want that, just reach out to me. I want to understand what your situation. You could have took a terrible boot camp or a half good boot camp, or you could have been to study on your own or feel like you got it. Anything in between, I'm here to help you. 757-759-5282. We'll talk. We'll see what's right for you, and we'll get you rolling. That's the way we roll. Let's just talk it out. So give me a call. Talk to you soon. Adios.